What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna speak on. I saw a recent episode of a podcast called Fully Loaded, right? And this podcast is Chris Carter and another guy. I don't know the other guy's name, but they had their guest on. It was Stephen A. Smith, right? And so they asked Stephen A. Smith about the situation with Max Kellerman. And I just think that I know that like these guys want content, but like the situation that happened with Max Kellerman was probably like going on close to 2 years ago. And in my opinion, it's a little bit messy. I think especially when you dealing with a person like Max Kellerman who really hasn't said anything about it. Um, he hasn't said anything about the situation. He just moved on, and he's set to come back. From what I hear, he's set to come back to sports, television and doing his job. He was still under contract, so once he got fired, so he really couldn't work for anybody else. But his that's from what I hear, that's just about over with, and he's set to come back. But for in my opinion, for Stephen A. Smith to continuously try to drag Max Kellerman and make Max look like like he was incompetent, make Max look like he was less than professional, make Max look like he was at fault, or he was the reason why ratings and everything was down at ESPN. I think is number one. I think is not true. You know, um, I think I think it's the other way around. I think Max Kellerman was too good at his job, and he made Stephen A. Smith look inadequate. And not only did he make Stephen A. Smith look inadequate, but it was the way he did it. He didn't go about it like in a he didn't go like get rah rah about it. He just made his points simple, and and they were solid points, and to even to the extent that everybody liked Max Kellerman. And it didn't matter whether you were black or white. People just digged his point of view. They just digged his line of thinking. And so, and he was able to come across as someone who was a solid guy without like kind of pandering to one community or the other. So if Max Kellerman had if he had a point of view that you disagreed with, you never got the feeling that he was disagreeing with your argument so he can pander to somebody else's argument. So you always thought that he was keeping it real. Whereas though Stephen A. Smith wasn't like that. Stephen A. Smith, you always kind of second guess to see it his opinions, to see if it's real or not, if he really think like that, or if he just trying to pander to his bosses. And so Stephen A. Smith he didn't like that about Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman, like I say, he kept it real, and he felt like he didn't feel like he needed to pander to nobody. And for that, people respect Max Kellerman. And the reason why people still respect and like Max Kellerman is because of the whole way the way he's handling this situation with Stephen A. Smith. And this, to me, is a prime example of how to handle somebody like Stephen A. Smith. Now, I'm not sure if Max will handle this the same way when he come back, when they take off those restraints and those cuffs. Maybe he will want to retaliate or fight back, which I don't blame him, because Stephen A. Smith seems to be the kind of person that if you don't defend yourself against him, if you don't hit him back, then he's going to continue to punch you. And that's evident in the way he did Kwame Brown, right? For years and years, he continually bashed that guy until Kwame, stood up for himself. And so that's how Stephen A. Smith is. To me, it's like bullying. You know, if you don't hit this guy back, if you don't fight back, then maybe he will continuously go at Max Kellerman, especially if Max Kellerman come back and he achieved any type of success, then you know, I think that's going to be a problem for Stephen A. Smith, because when he was working with Stephen A. Smith, you know, he had more respect from the black community than Stephen A. Smith did. And Stephen A. Smith resented that. And so and I believe that too is part of the reason why, you know, Stephen A. Smith wanted Max Kellerman out there. And for him to fall into the trap or fall into that little situation where Cris Carter brought up the situation about Max Kellerman, you know, shows that, you know, he still is trying to convince people that of something that's not true. You know, you know, they didn't have chemistry, or I think it was the fact that Max Kellerman just made Stephen A. Smith just look just made him look petty, made him look you know, he just exposed him as someone who wasn't real. And so if you're real recognize real, and if you in a room with somebody who's real and you're not real, you're not going to be able to stand in there with them, because you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. So that's what Max Kellerman represented for Stephen A. Smith. He made Stephen A. Smith stand out like a sore thumb on TV, without even calling him out. You know, I thought it was very intelligent. It was brilliant, in my opinion. Without even calling Stephen A. Smith out, he just made Stephen A. Smith look like somebody who wasn't real. Stephen A. Smith got that. You know what I mean? He caught on to that. And so he fabricated this nonsense about chemistry and ratings and stuff like this, so he could he could get Max Kellerman off the show. He's not comfortable with people who expose him. He's not comfortable with people who make him feel like he's not intelligent. And unfortunately for Max, that's what Max did. That's my take on the situation. Let me know how you feel about Stephen A. Smith continuously going at Max Kellerman. Do you think it's necessary? You think it's fair game? You know, all is fair. But I'm looking forward to y'all comments. And with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll check you all out on the next episode.